It's a Spiraken podcast with our very special guest, Doug! Yay! Yes, sir. Hello, everyone, and welcome to a very special episode of the Spiraken Motion Picture Review, Spiraken's podcast, where we talk about all things movies. And this is actually a supplemental episode because something interesting happened on that wonderful streaming service called Disney Plus. And no, we're not talking about the Goofy incident that we talked about in the Zan chat. There's been a recent show that I stumbled upon called Prop Search or Prop something. I can't remember the name of it, but they're going through props from different movies. And the newest episode, they went through with the Muppets. And they actually showed all the props, what happened to them, and how important they were. The best thing, I think, was they have in Manhattan, they have the prop from the first Muppet movie of Gonzo's, the fake plunger man that went on top of his car.
Oh, that's fantastic.
The great Gonzo
yes,
plumbing
icon or hood ornament had that on there, and also it had the Studebaker. And the Studebaker did not age well.
Is it a Studebaker or is it a Studebaker?
That's a good question.
The bear's natural habitat.
Yeah.
It is.
So, yes, prop culture has been very fun.
Yes. So, for those of you who don't know, my name is Zan.
I'm Greta.
And I'm Doug.
Yes. So, what we're going to do for this, because I was inspired by the Muppets, is we're going to be talking about our top 5 Muppet movies. Now, each one of us obviously has a different top 5. So, how we're going to do this is we're going to go one by one for each number, kind of like how a certain website that reviews games on YouTube does it, or did it. They don't do it anymore like that. So, what we're going to do is we're going to start with Doug's number 5, and then Greta's number 5, and then my number 5, then going through to our number 1s. Now, some may vary, some may be the same. Now, we're going to be covering the different Muppet movies and specials, because there are a bunch of specials that came out that most of us don't think about or we don't remember. For example, one that I think that a lot of people just don't give a lot of credit to is, what you say, Follow That Bird is a Muppet movie, because certain Muppets do show up in it.
It's that gray area. I think we're going to find there's a lot of wiggle room with some of these definitions anyway.
Yes, but we also we have our main 8 Muppet movies plus some of the various specials. So we're going to start off easy and quick. Not easy and quick, but let's go with it. So,
all right.
Doug, what is your number 5?
I'm going to start this with the caveat that I think, my 5 is pretty my solid 5. It's only, I'm going to go with just The Muppets, the second most recent theatrical film where they introduced Walter and everything like that. And it kind of brought the Muppets back into attention. I mean, it was a little bit obvious that it was like trying to see if they could make, the Muppets a very solid franchise again, and maybe launch another movie franchise and stuff like that. And you saw stuff afterwards but it's a fun outing. Like, it really plays with the idea of what is a Muppet versus what is a real person in this, or just a human in this world. And it's like characters are brothers, but like one's a Muppet, one's
like, are you a Muppet or are you a man?
Yeah, a man or a Muppet. Exactly. It's it's a little fun thing. It definitely plays that nostalgia for it, but it's not. You're not punished for thinking about the past. It's like rewarded for thinking about it fondly and everything like that. It has some good cameos. It's a good Muppet movie where they do a lot of the jokes of like playing with, joking against the tropes like, oh, the fastest way to get somewhere is to travel by map. Things like that. I mean, it's got the DNA right there. It's just, it doesn't quite, the reason it's kind of my number 5 is it doesn't have as much of the panache as some of my later choices. But it's still an enjoyable entry into Muppets, and I think it's a good, enjoyable one. I think the only thing it really suffers from is that this is one of the few ones you have to really kind of go in with some previous knowledge about the characters and how they interact in their relationships.
You have to have at least seen some kind of Muppet movie.
Mm-hmm. Not necessarily all of them, but some. Yeah.
But some.
Yeah. That's a very good point with it, because it is a very big nostalgia trip, the Muppets from 2011. But it was also a love letter, a lot of people say. So, Greta, what is your number 5?
So, my number 5 is Muppets Most Wanted, with the evil Kermit, with the magic mole. All of a sudden, he's completely different. I think it's hilarious. It has all of the good. You have a good hero. You have a good villain. There's like the jailhouse scene is one of my most favorite things, and I feel like my 4 and 5 like kind of flip flop and whatnot, but I love it. It's kind of classic. Kermit is kind of the way that I grew up with Muppets is Kermit is the good guy. He's like Jiminy Cricket, but the main character. So seeing him be caught up as the bad guy is like, ah. So that's my number 5.
That's a good number 5. Also with Tina Fey being a headliner, and that's kind of.
I love Tina Fey.
It also has some really good running gags, like Sam the Eagle and his counterpart at Interpol showing off the size of their badges. Like that I love that running gag.
And Sandy Eagle, like, I don't like him in a lot of the other Muppet movies, but he has a good part in this one.
He takes the spotlight.
Yeah.
Sam D. Eagle is one of those Muppets that is a I do want to say he's a very nuanced and very particular character that some really like and some really hate, and it's weird when most of the Muppet Show is made in Europe, in England, so it's kind of, but. Yeah. So my number 5 is one which takes one of the more, not lesser known, but one of the more backstage characters and puts him to the forefront. And I'm talking about Muppets from Space. This one is a kind of, not swan song, but it's a nice love letter to Gonzo, where you find out kind of what's going on with him, that he is, well, in interviews later, Dave Grohl and Gonzo, both of them say that this is just Gonzo playing a role. This is the reality. He is still a whatever. But the fact that he's an alien, and I do like all the little aspects of it, like Bobo the Bear being the very kind of like, I'm your assistant, but you want to get a jalapeno? Or we'll take my company car, and it's a cement truck.
I do like that his cereal talked to him, though.
Yes, the cereal talked to him, his sandwich talked to him, and it's a fun movie. Even though there isn't a lot of singing in it, I do love the fact that they had a lot of funk in the movie. Mm-hmm. And I love the Gonzo aliens, how they were like Gonzo with the cannon. And it's a nice moment. I don't know why. It just seemed like a great, just fun film.
It's interesting because, well, it's Gonzo's story. I think it's another good Muppet movie that debuts some characters or gives spotlight to characters that you don't think about. You mentioned Bobo, and Pepe the Prawn also gets a lot of good moments in this movie too. I think they they definitely get kind of, for the B list, they get the MVP.
Yeah.
That's a good point. One of the things too that kind of like, so I had to rewatch this one to try to like really remember it. And the scene where they're breaking into the facility and they have the rubber ducky that makes them invisible. Flash forward to, we're in lockdown with the whole COVID-19 thing and everyone's learning how to wash their hands. And
Fozzie, I know where you're going.
Goes to use the little Fonzie room and comes out and all you see are his hands because he washed his hands. Fonzie, did you wash your hands? Of course I did. My mama taught me.
I had completely forgotten about that joke.
And then he's like,
it's just like it meant so much more to me like right now with everything going on.
Oh. I love he's like not what is it? Mom said never, no exceptions.
No exceptions.
And while there was no running gags in the movie, I did enjoy. I think it was well done, and that's something which is important for most of the Muppet films. There has to be a good running gag. Like in the Muppets, the running gag was the maniacal laughter. I think.
Maniacal laugh.
Maniacal laugh. Maniacal laugh.
Yeah. So moving on to my number 4, and I think my 4 and my 3 could swap back and forth. And this is going to be a tough one to talk about, but it's the Muppets Celebrate Jim Henson, which was the special they did after he passed, and it's part of it's the biography and stuff, but it also has all the cuts of them trying to figure out how to do a celebration of this, and this is like the whole kind of climax is them waiting for Kermit, and they have to move a desk or something out of the way, and they find a box of letters from fans saying how much they're going to miss Jim's genius, and Fozzie, kind of who's trying to take point of this because Kermit hasn't showed up yet, is like, well, we can't have this group thing, like the man just died, and it climaxes with them singing this song, Just One Person, which is actually from a Charlie Brown bit, but it captures so much of the spirit of it. It's like we're so much of what makes good Muppet stories is that we're stronger together, we get through. We celebrate the good times together. We rally together when things are bad, and everything like that. And remember how to laugh, because it ends like, oh well, Kermit walks in, and it's like, I know you guys could do it. And it's like, okay, well now that we're done the serious part, you guys got any ridiculous stuff? And like, do we have any ridiculous stuff? But there's just a lot of neat looks back, and I think tying it together, having the Muppets bring in the different transitions and the different aspects of his life that they bring through makes it accessible to everybody. It's something for you that the kids can watch, and understanding that Jim has passed, adults can still enjoy too. And the fact that you can have that balance is so creative, and it's one of those things that it really does reassure that the Muppets are still the Muppets even without Jim. They won't be the same without Jim Henson, but there's still a lot of his spirit there. And for me personally, the passing of Jim Henson was like the first time I learned of someone that I idolized as a kid dying, and like it was the first time I could understand what that meant at the time. So it had a very profound impact on me. So, but rewatching it, I still really love it, and I still love how sweet it is, and it's a nice big warm hug, and it's a beautiful tribute.
And I think there's something that's really sweet about the way that Muppets always break the fourth wall.
Yep.
Like they include you, and I choose to believe that some of those letters were real, just fan mail. They didn't have to make up.
I really think they are. I have no reason to doubt it. So
they gave a very good explanation for it without breaking the fact that Jim was Kermit. They'd be like, "Oh, he's one of those guys we saw crawling around the floor, right?"
Yeah. And they all look down and everything, and it's moments like that just again, it's not to remind you not to take it too seriously, and that this is supposed to be something fun.
Yeah.
So.
And it's he will be missed over time. So what is your number 4?
My number 4 is Muppets Take Manhattan. There's the, Kermit gets hit on the head and kind of forgets who he is. It's the pulling things from your surroundings to make up weird stuff that everyone just kind of goes along with, but it ends with the whole big wedding. And I love those old Hollywood, song and dance numbers. It felt very kind of Broadway, very Muppet magic.
Yep.
And I have to also say that my number 4 is also Muppets Take Manhattan, and that's kind of the reason it's Broadway, because they're going to make a Broadway show. That's the whole reason for it.
And they did. They even had singing cakes.
Yeah.
They have it's a well done film, and it is also to bring a point to your number 4, Doug. It's also Jim's last movie. Mm-hmm. And that's a little heartbreaking with that, but it's a really well done movie. And also some of the things that it's set up in motion for later on with some new certain characters. Also the introduction of the Muppet Babies as a fantasy scene, becoming their cartoon cells. It's got some great numbers in it. And I think that's all I could say about that. Running gag for that one, I don't even know what the running gag for it was. I can't remember.
Yeah. Well, that transitions well, because my number 3 has a great kind of stage, almost like golden age of Hollywood number and everything like that, and that's the Great Muppet Caper, which I like. This is one I just adore, and it's one of the most solid just overall Muppet movies that you can just go into. And I've heard movies recently described like some of your favorite ones that you just go in and just kind of zone out, and is described as a warm bath. And this is a good example of that. You just get into the moment. But it breaks the fourth wall right away, because Kermit tells you that, oh, Fozzie and I are playing reporters. And it's all about the a movie, it's a movie there, and all the stuff that's going on like that for the opening number. But it has that big swimming scene with Miss Piggy.
I love that scene.
I love the pun of that the MacGuffin is the baseball diamond. Because it describes the shape. I love the running joke of the folding bed in the wall that keeps throwing them all inside, or the light bulb breaking, and Happiness Hotel, and just how it just throws everyone in there. And I love the spirit of that. It's you know what? This place is a dump, but it's our dump. We love it. It's one of my favorite sight gags is, they reveal that Fozzie and Kermit are reporters that working for a newspaper. And they're oh, they're brothers. And they meet their boss, and it's oh, it's well, the only reason I gave you a job is I'm friends with your dad. And it cuts to a photograph of the boss with a green Fozzie with the perfect color. And that joke just, every time I see it, it just cracks me up so much. But it's so funny. One of the neater technical bits about that is it's got the bicycle love song bit, and it's got all the army of Muppets on bicycles. And they say in the final shot where you see everyone on bicycle, if you look far in the distance, you can see a little speck. That's Brian Henson on a giant tricycle, pulling them all to make the mechanism work. So from a technical aspect, it's really cool. But again, it's just a fun story, and it's a great romp, and just it's got all the good in it. And the last thing I'll say on this is we were talking about Sam being some of the thing, a tough character to nail sometimes. One of his best lines is after the Happiness Hotel line. He looks out of his room just at the madness and just looks at everyone. You are all weirdos. But it's also said at that with that kind of tone of he's there by choice. He could leave, but he's yeah, you guys are weird, but I've got nowhere better to be.
No. So my number 3 is Muppets 2011 with what's his name?
Jason Segel, I think.
Jason Segel.
Yeah, Jason Segel, yep.
I always want to refer to him as one of his other characters.
From a certain TV show?
From a certain TV show that tells a story. But I love him and his brother Walter, that song of Am I a Man or Am I a Muppet? There's so many like references to his later movie that he does with the Muppet Dracula puppet show that he puts on. What is it? Chasing Amy?
No. I know the
Choosing Sarah Marshall.
Yep, that's it.
But I love all the cameos. You know, you hit on it before where you kind of have to know it. It's a test. Can we bring back the Muppets? Is that going to be a thing? Can we kind of relaunch it? I love that Jack Black is hoodwinked into it. And he's like, no!
Why am I so fit?
Right. I'm not a co-host. This is not a bit, you know. Hobo Joe. It just feel good. The maniacal laugh, you know, like the bad henchmen don't want to be bad henchmen. And at the end, they're like, this is how you do a maniacal laugh, you know, like, that's one of my favorites. And it has like the big classics for me of it. It kind of harps back on some of the originals, you know, one of my number 1 favorites that, you know, we'll get to and all of that. But it has Miss Piggy as Miranda Priestley from Devil Wears Prada, or what's her name? She's the editor.
No, that's Miranda Priestley from Devil Wears Prada.
No, but in real life.
I don't remember her real name.
So, you know, it has
Emma Blunt being the same character.
Blunt, you know, it has like all of those good like feel good moments, and Miss Piggy's at her best. She's got her hair changes and the whole thing. She's got great costumes.
Jason Segel and Amy Adams were such perfect casting choices for a Muppet movie.
Oh. And she like slowly gets pissed off, but she's never really angry. You know, it's like...
Yeah. Well, jeez. And yeah, it's another good one. The opening sequence with "Life's a Happy Song" and everything. That's such a great.
Yes.
It's a good song. It is a good song. It is
a happy song. But then, you know, and I like that they go into the museum and Walter's like so excited to be there. That's totally me. I'd be in front of like a rundown thing and I'd walk in, like if it was Downton Abbey and the thing was like the door was hanging off, I'd be like, but look at the door.
You'd do that at the Walt, if Walt Disney's office, she'd be like,
yeah, exactly. It's like I am Walter.
Well, for me, my next one is actually a special, not so similar to, but this one is one which is near and dear to me because it's the real introduction of Robin, but he's not Robin. It also has introduction of one of my favorite characters who's a full bodysuit. We're talking about Sweetums. I'm talking about the Frog Prince. It's a retelling of the story of the Princess and the Frog, or the Frog Prince. And it's Kermit is kind of a bystander while Robin is playing Gawain, the Frog Prince. And it's interesting because you have all these elements that work so well in it. Like the fact that, like in the Muppets movie, it's okay. Gary and Walter are brothers, but they have 2 human parents. Meanwhile, in the Frog Prince, you have a human mother, and then the father is a Muppet, and it kind of fits better. Like, the world is developed better. I love how it's done. I love the fact that the princess talks mix mash, and it's a nice little callback, and it's a very fairy tale-ish. And I like that Kermit is able to break the fourth wall constantly and just like, here's how this works. But it's not intrusive like some of the other ones where, for example, Muppet Treasure Island, where they're constantly stopping, and it's like, it takes you out of it. Like, oh, we're going to have now we're going to have all the rats going on a cruise ship, and then they're going to be on scuba gears while other people are walking around, and it's just kind of takes you out of it a little bit.
Mm-hmm. And Sweetums is one of the best designs, Muppets. Well, we can talk about designs later, but from a design aspect, he's such a great, recognizable design.
And he's such a nice... this one, he's a bad guy, but every other one since then, he's scary, but he's a sweetheart.
Yeah.
He's a Sweetums.
Like
Yeah.
in
And I love how he runs with his big floppy feet. He's like,
in the Muppets, you see him at the same place he starts in the Muppet movie. It's the son's car dealership. It's the same dealership with the same broken down Beetle, but he's
I think it's technically a bug.
it's a
The
bug.
old
It's a
is
bug.
VW
It's a bug. But it's and then he runs
Still
after them.
$2,000.
It's like wait, hold on,
Yeah.
go back.
Yeah.
And he's so fun. So where are we up to? Our number twos.
We're at number 2, and I will fight anyone who disagrees with me on putting this on the list. Muppet Christmas Carol. I freaking love this. I mean, we talked about Muppet Caper being the last one before Jim passed. This was the first one after. And it does sting a little every time you see that first opening credit of In Loving Memory of Jim Henson, but it's a great adaptation of The Christmas Carol. It's a tight, it keeps moving. Like, it goes through the plot pretty quickly. We talk about
Gonzo's a great narrator.
Yeah, Gonzo and Rizzo as the kind of the narrators, and not just leaning on the fourth wall, like breaking it and exploding it, but it's
It would have been Crazy Harry who was breaking the wall.
Yeah, but it's one of the best integrations of Muppet and human characters, like just from that opening sequence where you see everyone just interacting normally and stuff like that. Michael Caine is phenomenal as Scrooge. I love him forever for this role. And there's some great memorable songs there. One More Sleep Till Christmas is a phrase I know I'm not the only one who thinks about when it's Christmas Eve. I love the song from Ghost of Christmas Present, Wherever You Find Love, It Feels Like Christmas. And, how it kind of gets to the aspect of it, the message, the line, the message that we hear it is make it last all year. Like, don't be kind and giving to people just because it's Christmas. We should be doing it all the time because it's the right thing to do. I love the choice of making Statler and Waldorf the Marley Brothers, and how they're heckling from beyond the grave. It's so many neat little things. I think the only down thing I can say about it is how it's released now, because the original theatrical version cut out the song The Love Is Gone, which is basically Belle's dumping Scrooge song, and it slows down and it's very sad, and it does slow down the movie, but that was on the VHS home video release that I watched for years and years and years. So I just thought it was always part of it. But now when you get like the some of the DVD and Blu-ray releases, like the DVD version I have, which I will hold on to, you have a choice. You can have the widescreen, see everything that was shot version, or the version with the song that's formatted to fit an old style TV screen. And every time I watch it, because I watch it every Christmas, I have trouble deciding which version I want to see. It's interesting though, because Gonzo and Rizzo are primary characters. Kermit and Piggy are the Cratchits. Fozzie's barely in it. I mean, it works perfectly to make you barely. You gotta make him Fozziewig. It was the name's perfect right there. But it's interesting that he's a side character, but you never feel like where's Fozzie. You never miss him. But it's not that he's a bad character. Of course not. It's Fozzie. But it's not his story to tell, so they don't try and shoehorn him in. And of course, even years later, it's interesting to see how because Jim Henson stuff is always trying to experiment and stuff. And so you saw that CGI with the Ghost of Christmas Past and some other neat effects, like that weird whirlpool effect when Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come transitions between areas and stuff like that. Like, that was groundbreaking then, and it still looks like it has aged really well. And I think it's because they made it work. Like, they didn't, like, force it in. They really integrated it. And that's one of those things, again, that Henson was an innovator. He was always looking for how can we add new things and what else can we do? What haven't we shown before? And I think that's why it still has the spirit of Henson in it more than, I think, any other post-Jim Henson Muppet production.
I love Christmas. Zan doesn't let Christmas start till December 1st. I like to celebrate Christmas in July. I love this one also, but The Christmas Carol is not one of my favorite stories overall. It's like so sad, but I have a hard time with this one, and it's made it to my list and kicked off my list, kicked off my list, because I love Michael Caine so much, and I thought they did it really, really well, but my number 2 is The Great Muppet Caper. Give me Miss Piggy up front with glamorous costumes and fabulous hair. Give me diamonds and jewelry and old, gone by eras. Like, I grew up and I had a pool in my house. And my sister and I used to spend hours and hours and hours in the pool underwater trying to perfect that circle that those women do. And we were like pretty darn good, I have to say. If there was more of us, I'm sure we could have reproduced this. But that whole like water scene and her coming out of it and being like just falling into the fountain, like all of that happened in her head. I relate to Miss Piggy so much. She might be one of my favorite all-time Muppet characters, like hands down. But the costume, the hair, the show numbers, like all of it, it's just too sensational not to be. And I fight for 1 and 2 with this one, but that's my number 2.
Okay. Now, that is a good one, and I do, and like The Great Muppet is a good movie. It just, for me, it was never reached my top 5. It just didn't pull enough to me, just for some certain reasons. And I love Charles Grodin as Nicky, the what is it? His official term is Nicky, the unreliable parasite. That's his official name.
Yes. That's on his door.
That's his door, and I like all those little things about it. I love the fact that it ends. When they steal the diamond, it's a baseball game, and just like at first it's like, oh, it's a heist, and that becomes it's literally a baseball game.
Sitting in a glove.
They've got like the announcer.
They got the announcer. Scooter's bringing out popcorn.
I want to shout out one other scene that I forgot to mention because Greta mentioned Miss Piggy. The scene where she's faking into the sneaking into the house that
with John Cleese.
With John Cleese, John Cleese is so great as a straight man, and he just works so perfectly in that scene.
For me,
and he even gives like a dinner recommendation.
And they get the money for it to taking photos. My scene for that is of course, because my favorite Sesame Street character. Well, I do love Cookie Monster. There's one character I love a lot more, and he's got a lovely cameo, and it's in reference to another cameo. Because I'm not going to spoil who the actor is, but he gets thrown out of his cab, and then Oscar the Grouch pops out. What are you doing here? Like, what happened? I got thrown out of my cab. What are you doing here? A little cameo. Me too.
Me too.
But for my number 2, you said most of what I was going to say for my number 2, so I had to rack my brains. Because my number 2 is Muppet Christmas Carol, because it is such a vibrant and amazing version of the Christmas Carol story. And there are hundreds of different, not hundreds, there's like 50 different versions of this, and there are always slight differences and similarities.
And I don't know if everyone can truly appreciate Zan putting a number 2 Christmas movie on any kind of list.
Die Hard.
Yeah, but that's continuously debatable. Like,
Lies.
This is huge for you.
But it's because the movie is such a quintessential Muppet movie, and it's a great adaptation of a great seminal classic by Charles Dickens. And it's very faithful to it in a lot of what it does. There are a couple of gripes that you could have, like, for example, when they move things around. Like, originally it's his nephew that says, I want to say I want to say a toast to my uncle. They move it to Kermit as Bob Cratchit saying it. Yeah. But they do a great job rearranging it and for a lot of scenes. And one thing I do really love about it is that when it gets to the Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come, they kind of stop the gags. Except for the Muppets that are dealing with it, like it's the pig businessman, and then it's I forgot the spider's real name, but he's playing Old Joe.
And there's that whole bit where they admit, "Hey, this is scary. We'll see you later." Like, yeah, I mean, and that's part of like one that's great from like if you think about it for kids, of like saying, "Yeah, even the characters are like." Even the people that are supposed to be silly and goofy are admitting that this is scary. Like, it's giving the kids the okay to be scared at that moment by that.
They do, and also another thing is that I love how they show how the Christmas present is almost like he enchants and he brings out the best parts of Scrooge. And you see Scrooge slowly warming his heart.
He does that little bit of like, he slowly starts dancing with him.
And he's getting better and better.
It's showing that it's like, and of course the line is, come in and know me better, man. But it's letting Scrooge know that's like, no, you always had a place at the table. You were always welcome. And it's that inviting him in. It's, maybe it's a little bit of dragging him out, kicking and screaming, but it's like, yeah, we know this will be good for you. And the fact that like Scrooge could joke with them, like, oh, over 2,000, however many of my brothers and sisters came before me, and Scrooge's remark is, imagine the grocery bill, and Ghost doesn't roll his eyes; he just laughs right with it. He's like, yes, see, you're making jokes,
and it's great because other versions of it show when Ghost of Christmas Present throws Scrooge's words in his face. They do it in a very cruel manner, like this. This is how it should be. Get rid of, let him die. So reduce the surplus populace. Yep. In this version, he's saying it like a kind of like teaching him, and when he goes away, it's kind of heartbreaking because you see he's aging over time. I like that they show him slowly get more and more gray, like they've done in all the other versions. But this one's poignant because he's like, I don't want you to go. He's like, my time's up, and he's like gonna cry. Yeah. I love that scene about it. Oh, go on.
I just want to say one other great Ghost of Christmas Present lines in that sequence, and just kind of shutting Scrooge down, but not like reminding him that it's like what the actual spirit is. No pun intended. Is just like you're missing the point. Kind of you're missing the point. Is Scrooge is looking at the Cratchit spoon, and his comment is such a meager feast, and the Ghost of Christmas Present fires right back, but very much appreciated, and it just shuts it right down. Like, that's not the point.
Yeah, he keeps him in check. And besides that, some of the other nice little elements with it are you feel bad for I forgot the bunny's name.
Bean.
Like, Bean, when you see Bean shivering at night, and then later he shows up and he's like, "What day is it?" And it's Christmas Day, sir.
And he's got such a great attitude. You sang his song. He was asking for a penny, nothing. He's shivering, surrounded by like old newspapers. You feel bad for him, but he'll walk around carrying a turkey, just happy like to live in the moment.
Mm-hmm. And that's one last thing is that at the end, usually it's, he just shows up at Cratchit's house, the turkey's delivered, and then he reveals the whole thing. This one, he actually goes to the people in his life and he makes things better. And I love that it goes back to Fozziwig, and it goes to Sam the British Eagle.
Yeah.
Because they're in Britain.
Yeah. And like, what's great is that whole sequence, those and then like when he's going to Fred's house, it's during the kind of the instrumental bridge of the song. There's no dialogue, but it gets the point across without needing any dialogue, and that's just good direction there.
Yeah, and it opens strong with when the walking sequence, the opening sequence with Scrooge. It's a song, but they don't have to spell it out. Really, you see just with the feeling of it. Like when they say, "Oh, he's probably just misunderstood," and then he just walks past and nah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So with that in mind, we're up to our number one, and I've got to admit this. I think we're all on the same page with what number one is.
May I interject?
I don't know.
May I interject before we talk about number one? Because I want to say, like, there's going to be stuff that's not on this list. I mean, there's several movies, and there's a lot of, like, including specials in this list did make it a little tougher. But even when it's a not great Muppet outing, it's still an enjoyable time. Like, it's always at least good. Sometimes it's great, sometimes it's amazing. But I think I've never gone to any Muppet thing and think, I wouldn't watch that again. There's ones I'd rather watch more, but I think even the lowest of the low are solid entries.
Yes, they are.
So to our listeners, if there's one that we think you should include, please let us know. But we don't. It's not that we think there's bad, because there's definitely ones that I had to hem and haw and stuff, and like if I had to make a top,
this was
6,
hard.
Yeah, like whittling this down to 5, like would have been hard. Even whittling this down to 10.
Well, there's only 8 movies, so that would have been all the movies. But then the specials are what makes it kind of tough. One thing.
I think every Muppet movie has been a great Muppet movie.
And they're good for adults and for kids, and all the characters are well done. Well, even though some of the films are not as focused
Although Miss Piggy's the best. She has best costumes and hair and jewelry. Same.
And I didn't bring it. Well, before I forget, one thing I did love about Christmas Carol is I love that Sprocket is the first character you see in the background from Fraggle Rock in one of the windows, and he shows up a lot. Anyway, so back to the number one. I think we all agree. Number one.
Well, what is Doug's number one?
Oh. My number one is The Muppet Movie.
My number one is The Muppet Movie.
And my number one is 1970s. I want to say 9?
79.
The Muppet Movie.
79. The Muppet Movie.
Moving right along. It's got to be like the best Muppet song.
How many times, like, if I'm like, all right, let's moving on, like when someone says like, oh, we're moving on, you think moving right along or stuff like that.
No, or you think of a bear in his natural habitat, a Studebaker.
I not this year, but last year, New Year's Eve, I was in South Bend, Indiana, because I was going to the Winter Classic hockey game, and we got to go to a New Year's Eve event at the Studebaker mansion, because they have function space there and everything, and they have their own line of beer. So I took a picture of my beer with the Costa at the Studebaker mansion and sent it to my brother. Then just with the caption, "A beer in its natural habitat." But it's like there's lines like that just I love, and like what sealed this one for me is it's like, okay, if I could only show someone one Muppet movie, like if there was only one Muppet movie ever made, what would it be? And it's like I kept coming back to this one. This is set everything up. It's, the fourth wall breaks, the running jokes, the interactions with humans and Muppets. This is where everything created, and it's some of the best examples of it all.
Everybody has their own moment.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just like some of the other movies where it's just, in The Great Muppet Caper, which is one of my favorites, Kermit and Miss Piggy go out on their date, and like every single Muppet in the movie comes with them. So It's like, and sometimes it's like, okay, there's too many background characters for the scene, like edit people, but in this movie, everybody has their shining moment. They all get to take credit for something, show what they're best at, and the whole movie moves right along. Like there's like never a down point. It's like the whole thing just keeps on.
And I think it utilizes its human characters greatly in a great way, where the main characters are the Muppets and the humans are background characters. Unlike, say, Muppet Treasure Island, where Jim, he's good in it, he just kind of feels like a detraction. Like you could have had a Muppet be, and just have Long John Silver be a human. And this one, it's not that. I mean, you have an amazing cameo cast, and also Doc Hopper is a great villain.
And can we just not say how sweet Kermit is again? Because he's like, when I think about all those frog legs, I think about all of the frogs on crutches. It's like,
yeah,
oh,
he's so pure. But it's stuff again, all the cameos, and there are so many great cameos, like Milton Berle,
Bob Hope,
Orson Welles. It's Madeline Kahn as the myth.
Everybody who's anybody has been in at least one Muppet movie.
Yeah,
Steve Martin.
Yeah, and that's why you think about I will get to Steve Martin. Because that he's near one of my all-time favorite parts of this, but it's also it set that up, and it's one of those things you look at who did the Muppets, the 2011 one, and so much of that is kind of the phone rings and it's do you want to be in a Muppet production? Who says no? Who's going to turn that down? And even then, the Muppets were pretty big, but that's what's yeah.
Yeah, I just I love Mel Brooks in it as the evil Nazi scientist.
Yes,
and of course you cannot forget such lovable to lush ones it's what type of ice cream you want? Honey, don't call me honey. No.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
That and of course bring me the standard rich and famous contract. Which does come back to play later on.
Yeah.
Which was a nice callback.
There's there's a couple songs all the songs are great. The very sweet one is I'm Going Back There Someday, which is just a great one and has a great line of there isn't a word yet for old friends you've just met, and I think about that when I meet someone that's I instantly hit it off with. That's such a great line. Moving Right Along is a great road trip song. But my all-time favorite, and it's probably top of my list for Muppet songs, is I Hope That Something Better Comes Along. Which, again, that's the scene, that Steve Martin introduced, but it's Rolf and, Kermit thinks he's been kind of left at the restaurant, and Piggy's walked out on him, and he's little down, and Ralph's just kind of, well, let me play you, kind of a song to cheer you up, and it's, kind of that little bit of sad songs are the best ones when you're down. But it's a catchy song, and it's still kind of yeah, this sucks at the moment, but optimism too, and it's acknowledging the fact that, love is complicated, you want you wish it was better, but at the same time, you don't want to be alone and miserable. But the thing that just always amazes me about this is Rolf and Kermit are both voiced by Jim Henson. This is him doing a duet with himself. From a technical aspect, that is amazing. It's such a cool thing to think about. Again, other little technical things, this is when the first time you had Muppets riding a bicycle. First it's just Kermit in this, again, Muppet Caper just exploded that. You have that bit with Fozzie and Kermit dancing on the stage, and so you're seeing full body Muppets that aren't, body suits, things like that. And it's just again, that's pushing the envelope and seeing what more we can figure out. And of course, so many great puns and silly jokes, drinks on the house.
Hey, aren't there supposed to be drinks in the house?
Everyone runs out and goes to the top.
And of course, have you tried Hare Krishna?
One of the things that I love too is, we were watching that special about
the props,
and there's the old sign from the Sleezos, El Sleezos.
Yep.
And they were talking to
the son of the creator.
Yeah, and every piece of it meant so much to everybody who was involved in it, which you could tell. You could tell that every single person who worked on this loved what they were doing. And they asked, what was the hardest part about, I know I always take it back to costumes because they're the best part, but what was the hardest part about, doing the Muppet costumes, and the girl was looking at it, she's pulling apart the one costume. She's like, well, the pearls for Miss Piggy were twofold. They were demure and feminine, but it hid the seam. And you can see this dress this was a tablecloth. We just made it, and, they're laughing about it. And she goes, the hardest part was not doing it anymore. It was such joy, but that for me comes through in all of the movies. There was so much joy in everything that they did. The Studebaker, Gonzo's truck with his little Gonzo guy on it,
We didn't even talk about the Electric Mayhem bus, and the introduction of them switches about a minute in, switches to them reading the script and flashing back to a scene that happened 30 seconds ago.
Yes. And as they're playing, the roof is literally jumping off of the broken down little church.
And then I love that how do you guys know we're here? Well, we read the script.
Yeah. So we showed up.
And that became a running gag throughout all of the Muppet movies, where later on it's oh, if we don't do this, it's going to be a really short movie.
Yeah.
Like them just smiling, winking at the camera, and they did have such fun doing this, and you could see it's friends doing it together, and you get that feeling.
The only one that was ever really scary was The Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
Treasure Island, even in the scariest parts, it wasn't really that terrifying.
I mean, there's other Jim Henson productions
that are terrifying.
But as far as Muppets, yeah. And there's just so many neat moments, but again, Muppet movie, it's if you could only watch one, and yeah, there's you could argue that you need to know a little bit. It's oh, well, no, this is our origin story. It's approximately how it happened.
Hey, that opening is the best when when they're coming in, and it says, is this, and it's Robin and him just sitting there while all this mayhem is happening because they're getting ready to watch their movie, and I think that's just seeing Dog Lion just is this seat taken? Walks away.
The puns, the sappy jokes, the one-liners, the all the underwater scenes. Not to take it back to Miss Piggy in that epic underwater scene, but even in Treasure Island when they're underwater, when the mice are underwater and they're scuba diving and everything. When you think about making a Muppet character and putting it underwater and what that does, where they place the bubbles without CG, where they're doing all of that, and it's just, I love it.
And taking it back to going underwater, just that opening, once that's in, when the movie officially starts, Jim Henson underwater with that log, and you see Kermit the Frog playing Rainbow Connection, which is that iconic moment.
I was gonna say, and that's one of those things that's really, we didn't even get into that. That is outside of the theme song to the TV show. Rainbow Connection is the Muppet song everyone knows.
Yeah.
It is the Muppet song, and it's a beautiful song. It now is kind of taken on a bittersweet tone. You think about it, and now it's, it almost feels like it's Morning Jim, but it's still such a great song, but it has those lines of, don't stop believing, or don't stop dreaming, and things like that. Don't stop believing's Journey, sorry. But
you didn't confuse it.
It's just so many great things, and it's again not only set the standard, it set the golden standard of what things should be going on right now.
And it's a message which is still relevant to this day, and I do love back to the show we watched. The last prop that they found, because they have the original, well, not the original, because the original one is buried with Jim, but they had in Brooklyn, they have one of the later Kermits, but at the end, the writer for Rainbow Connection shows up because Brian Henson took out of the vault the banjo.
Oh, wow.
And it's just...
And it showed the craftsmanship that you're never going to see in the movie. You were never going to see the back of the banjo. But still yet, when he flipped it over, there was more on the back of the banjo. There's little lines
and you
on
see
there.
like where you could see where he held it, and he talked about how important it was working on it, and also how, just the song is such a pivotal and great, not great. I want a word stronger than great.
Awesome.
I use awesome a lot, but awesome. Just a magnificent song that it's well done, and it's still good, still important to this day, like we've said. This is one that anyone should. That if you have a chance, watch it. It aged really well. There's funny scenes, like the Hare Krishna joke. A lot of modern kids are not going to get because Hare Krishnas aren't allowed in the airport anymore.
But that's one throwaway joke, and that's the thing is, if you don't get that one, okay, maybe come back to it. When you come back to it as an adult, oh, that's what that is.
But yeah, but I mean, like besides that, like the besides the telephones and the movie aged amazingly well. And even if they don't know who the people doing the comedy are, and they don't get like Dom DeLuise, seeing like, oh, say hi to my friend Al.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons why I go back to this movie so much more as an adult. It's like, well, now I know more of these actors. Like, I didn't know, most of these people growing up. I just knew them as humans interacting with the Muppet. Because it's not like the Muppet Show where it's like, oh, our special guest so and so, and now I go back and like, wait a minute, that's Madeline Kahn, that's Mel Brooks. Like, realizing how many people are in there. So that's I think what makes it keeps them as characters. It never like watching it later on. You're like, oh, cool, that's bring it in. But you can just watch it as a kid. You're not losing anything by not knowing who the actor is. You gain something by seeing it later on, but you're not losing anything by not knowing who it is. And again, that's why it comes back again and again, and it set that standard too. Like, heck, the first time, like, probably the first 5 or 10 years of watching Muppet Christmas Carol, which is one of my all-time favorite movies, I had no idea who Michael Caine was. I'd never seen anything else he'd done. I just knew he was a guy that was playing Scrooge and did a good job of it. And now it's like, oh, this is a big deal.
It's like he's Michael Caine, who is I know him from Alfie, but I know him from other things as well, and most people know him from the Chris Nolan Batman trilogy. But he's a very,
because he was Alfred, right?
He was Alfred.
He's like the best Alfred.
He's just a very great, and the fact he did it is such a great choice.
One of the things I love in movies is I love all of the flubs. When you catch.
I wish there was an outtake reel with this. But
I love all so those are the little things that I like to look for. I like to look for wardrobe malfunctions and who left a water bottle sitting in the back and things like that. And I've caught, just from rewatching it again, in the Muppet Caper, where Miss Piggy went from being a puppet to a full-size costume that was perfectly sized when she's in that water scene, when she's shooting up and going to dive in, when it changes from Muppet to person in suit and diving in. And there was the bus driver from the
Happiness Hotel.
Yeah. There's certain scenes where up close he's a Muppet and far away it's a guy in a suit.
That's when they're driving.
Literally driving this crazy, crazy bus around the street.
Yeah.
So, you catch more and more of those, and you're like, the magic that they put into this is truly movie magic.
Remember, the Muppets are real. The Muppets are real. It's just the other people. They're like.
And Miss Piggy has the best pork chop ever. Hi-ya.
Har, har, har.
It will never get old. I will still say that joke to the end of time.
Hi-ya. But yeah, so I think this is a lot of fun. This is very cool nostalgia and going back to. We may continue this with a second segment where we're going to be talking maybe about our favorite non-main character Muppets, because we could talk about Kermit and Miss Piggy and Fozzie and Rolf,
Gonzo.
and Gonzo. But there's so many other characters, so many side characters. I mean, one that most people know because of a stupid meme is Bip Bipida, or as most people know him as, Mana Mana.
Mana Mana. Mana Mana.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just like, I think that might be a fun little segment, but I think that we've hit the nail on the head with this one. I think that we are done with this, but this is fun. If you like this content, let us know if you want to do some other interesting old school elements. I will actually think about doing some of the other Jim Henson properties, but we actually haven't talked about some of the other Jim Henson stuff like Mirror Mask, and we did do a review for Age of Resistance, but we never talked about the original film for Dark Crystal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which that's a you've seen Dark Crystal, right?
I have not.
You have
What?
not.
I that is one of the few gaps in my Jim Henson stuff.
We might need to have your fresh personal objective on that.
Uh-oh.
You've seen Labyrinth, though, right?
Oh, of course.
Okay, David Bowie and his awesomeness with the.
I'm pretty sure if I had not seen Labyrinth, my girlfriend would have tied me down,
Taped your eyes open.
Clockwork Orange.
Levidgo treatment.
Yeah, if I hadn't.
Oh, yes.
When I joked with her that I hadn't seen Princess Bride, that was like, oh, okay. I have seen it, don't worry, but that was other.
That's one of those one. Well, Princess Bride is one of those ones that we should do. I was thinking we do a MST3K style, do a Netflix party chat. See if anyone's interested.
The only thing I have to say about that is, as you wish.
Inconceivable, inconceivable. Which is only said 5 times in the entire movie.
I do not think that word means what you think that means.
So, but yeah. Again, Jim Henson. Muppets movies are some of the best of what the spirit of Henson is, even outside of the Muppet properties, but they are such a great example of that. So,
yeah. So I think that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that's it. Woo! Yay! Doing the Kermit wave. But we'll talk to you guys next time. I'm Zan.
I'm Greta.
Doug.
We're gone, so catch you guys next time, and keep loving the Muppets. See ya.
Mana Mana.
We're moving right along.
Yep. That's a good one.
Mana Mana. Mana Mana. Mana Mana. Mana Mana. Mana Mana. There's so many songs about rainbows and what's on the other side. Rainbows are visions, but only illusions, and rainbows have nothing to hide. So we've been told, and some choose to believe it. I know they're wrong, wait and see. Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. Who said that every wish would be heard and answered when wished on the morning star? Somebody thought of that, and someone believed it. Look what it's done so far. What's so amazing that keeps us stargazing? And what do we think we might see? Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. All of us under its spell. We know that it's probably magic. Have you been half asleep? And have you heard voices? I've heard them calling my name. Is this the sweet sound that calls the young sailors? The voice might be one and the same. I've heard it too many times to ignore it. It's something that I'm supposed to be. Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me.